I'm back, once again. So yeah, last week I went to my first IFA in Berlin, and it was honestly one of the best experiences that I've ever had. Initially I expected this very big hall, with every company having their own smaller booth inside, but no, that was definitely not the case. Instead, every company had their very own hall, and there was the shuttle bus that would take you from one hall to another. So yeah, this place was massive, but we got to see a ton of stuff from Intel, Acer, Lenovo, Samsung, and Sony. So yeah, shout out to Intel for sponsoring the whole IFA trip. And yeah, it was amazing overall. Like I said, I did get a cold, as you can probably tell by my voice, but other than that, it was awesome, and I'll definitely go again next year. So I wanted to record this video at IFA and also get it edited during last week, but we had literally zero downtime, so this is why this video is a bit delayed. But a big Apple event is actually tomorrow, so there's still time for you to hear everything about everything that Apple is going to announce tomorrow at the September 2019 event. So get those snacks ready, and here are 13 things to expect from tomorrow's September 2019 iPhone Apple event. To keep your Mac running fast and secure, check out Intego's Premium Bundle X9 that includes a number of very useful tools for your Mac. Use the link below to get a 60% discount. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the invite itself. Apple usually includes hints or Easter eggs in the invite as to what they will announce at the actual event. And in this very invite, we have an Apple logo that's colored in 5 different ways. Now, personally, I do think that this hints at the 5 colors that the iPhone XR successor will actually come in. I'm not really sure what else those colors could hint at. Now, the motto for this event is "Buy Innovation Only," which is a bit of an odd one, especially since, everything that we are expecting from this event would actually be an iteration of previous generations rather than something unique and truly innovative. So maybe, just maybe, Apple will have a one more thing to show us. And the event is being held tomorrow, September the 10th at 10 a.m. at the Steve Jobs Theater in Cupertino, and this will actually be the first Apple event that will also be live streamed on YouTube. Yes, YouTube, not just apple.com. Okay, so the first thing that we'll see at this event would be the successor to the iPhone XR. However, this won't be called the iPhone 11R, but instead it will be called the iPhone 11, at least according to all the leaks that we've seen. The design would remain identical to the iPhone XR, from the front at least, however, we are getting some improvements here. So, for example, we're getting a dual-lens camera module from the single lens that we had before, and then we're also getting those brand new colors that could actually be the same ones that we've seen on the Apple logo from the event invite. And then the iPhone 11 itself is getting thinner by 0.5 millimeters. We're also getting the Apple A13 processor from the A12, as well as 4 GB of RAM up from 3 GB. But yeah, aside from this, everything is exactly the same. So we have the exact same massive notch, the same very noticeable side bezels, and the same sub 1080p 6.1-inch LCD panel in 2019. But hey, the camera and the performance are very good on this, and same goes for the battery, which will also be increased to 3110 mAh from 2942 that we had on the iPhone XR. So that was the iPhone 11, but we're also going to have the iPhone 11 Pro. And this will come in 2 sizes, so 5.8-inch and 6.5-inch, so these are basically the successors to the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Max, only that they will be called the iPhone Pro and the iPhone Pro Max. Yes, Pro Max sounds like some sort of painkiller, to be honest. In terms of what extra features we do get a triple lens camera module on both, from the dual one that we had on the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Max. So with this we get a triple lens module that allows you to take wide-angle shots, which is pretty cool. Aside from this, we also get an improved haptic engine, but we do lose on 3D Touch. Yes, 3D Touch is being removed, and then we get reverse wireless charging, which allows you to charge things such as the 2nd generation AirPods with a wireless charging case from the back of your iPhone. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll also get a fast wireless charger in the box, finally. But yes, the iPhones will still come with a lightning port, unfortunately. We then get the Apple A13 processor and still 4 GB of RAM. But I mean, that's it. There's no new design, we have the same big notch, and nothing really that makes this new iPhone stand out from the competition, as fast charging and that wide-angle lens are actually things that other Android smartphones have had for years now. But honestly, do watch our Final Leaks and Rumors episode on the 2019 iPhones. It's close to a 20-minute video in which I cover everything that you need to know, including things such as Apple Pencil support, improved water resistance, and improved glass that's more shatter resistant, and so much more. This video is basically a very quick recap of everything that you need to know about all the things that Apple will release at this event. Next up, up, we have the Apple Watch Series 5. So this will have the exact same design as the Series 4, however, it will come into new casing material options, ceramic and titanium. It will very likely come with some new health sensors. We've actually seen some leaks that it might include a glucose monitoring meter, which is pretty useful, and possibly even an air quality meter. But the most likely new feature that we will see in the Apple Watch Series 5 is actually sleep tracking. So we've actually had some pretty recent leaks actually in the past few days that point towards Apple finalizing this for an announcement tomorrow. Aside from this, we'll have the brand new Apple Watch S5 processor with improved power efficiency. So the battery life should be a pretty noticeable improvement from the Series 4, reason why Apple is also thinking of adding that sleep tracking mode. But yeah, don't expect this to have a battery that lasts like a week. Maybe it's going to be improved from 2 days to 2.5, maybe 3 if we're lucky. But again, if you do want to learn everything about the Apple Watch Series 5, make sure you watch our video that covers everything we know about the Series 5 up until this point. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the certain releases. Now, there are a few more releases that Apple is working on that we might see announced either at tomorrow's event or in October/November at a separate event. And the first thing here is the Apple Tag, or iTag, or iTrack, whatever this thing is going to be called. So we do know that Apple is working on a tile-like accessory that you can place in your bag or on certain devices like keys, and you'll be able to track wherever they are on the map. Again, this will work very similar to how Tile works, where the tracker will actually emit a lower energy Bluetooth signal, and other devices running iOS 13 in the area would be able to pick that up. And then you'll be able to locate your devices in the Find My app. You'll actually have a separate item tab in the app, and you'll be able to assign icons for things such as, your keys, your luggage, your bike, and so on, depending on what you want to attach the tag to. I mean, this is some pretty cool stuff, and I'll definitely make some really good use out of that. And then a brand new report coming from 9to5Mac claims that Apple will also update the Apple TV with model number 11.1. And this will apparently feature the Apple A12 processor from the Apple A10X that we currently have now, and the Apple TV 4K. Also, the current generation Apple TV 4K came out in 2017, so 2 years ago, so yes, it is time for an upgrade. However, unless you actually game on your Apple TV, and you really need the very best performance, I don't think that getting this brand new model is worth it just for that Apple A12 CPU. Oh, and by the way, the Apple A10X processor does have a better GPU than the A12 does. So unless Apple uses the A12X in this, games will actually run worse on the new Apple TV than on the old one. Now, this new Apple TV might also feature HDMI 2.1, which does support resolutions of up to 10K at 120Hz. So yeah, if you plan on buying an 8K TV anytime soon, then this brand new Apple TV would actually support that TV and resolution. Next up, there is a brand new iPad in the works. So it's a 10.2-inch iPad, which is essentially an upgraded version of the entry-level 9.7 inches iPad that we have right now. So that iPad hasn't been updated since early 2018, and what this would be is that iPad with thinner bezels and a larger 10.2 versus 9.7 inch display, alongside an Apple A11 or even A12 processor. Now, overall, this would still be inferior to the iPad Air 3, which is also said to be getting an update this year with the Apple A13 chip. But I actually do expect this to be updated at a separate event in October rather than at the September event tomorrow. And speaking of iPads, we then have the iPad Pro 2019, which will have the exact same design as the 2018 model, just with the Apple A13X processor, and possibly, and hopefully, a reinforced chassis as well to prevent it from bending so easily. And same as the 10.2-inch iPad, I do expect the Pro to be unveiled at a separate event in October, than, tomorrow at the September event. I just wanted to mention it in this video in case Apple does announce it tomorrow, but I would say it's quite unlikely. Now, one of the things that I'm excited for the most this year is the brand new 16-inch MacBook Pro. So this is actually the next generation of MacBook Pros. We got a current generation back in 2016, and then the previous generation, the Retina MacBook Pros back in 2012. So technically, 2020 should be when Apple should unveil this new generation of MacBook Pros. However, we will actually be getting this by the end of 2019 instead. And what this will be is just the next generation 15-inch MacBook Pro for now, and not the next generation 13-inch, which is only expected to be released next year. But it will have around the same body size as the 15.4-inch model that we have now, only with much thinner bezels and a larger display. We actually did a full, very detailed video on everything we know at the moment about this new 16-inch MacBook Pro, alongside some of my exclusive findings. So yeah, definitely give that video a watch in case you want to learn more. But aside from this larger display, we'll also be getting a redesigned chassis for better cooling and airflow, as well as a brand new keyboard. However, since we do not have any new 10th generation H series processors from Intel at the moment, the CPU would be actually identical to the 2019 15-inch MacBook Pro that we got earlier this year. So the 9980HK processor, and the GPU is also very likely to remain the same one as well, so the Vega 20 and the Vega 16. So yeah, if you recently purchased a 2019 50-inch model, there's actually no need to upgrade just for that slightly larger display. And next up we have the brand new Mac Pro. And surprisingly, this was something that Apple has actually announced and also unveiled at WWDC 2019 in full. But it's just that it hasn't been released yet. Apple did say that it will be out in fall 2019, so there is a possibility that this new Mac Pro will be released at the September event as well. And personally, I really want us to get one, at least a review, but the baseline model is just, I don't know, it just isn't worth it. It's extremely underpowered for the specs that it offers, and the higher end models are going to be an even bigger purchase. Like the retail price for the maxed out model is expected to be around £50,000 in the UK at least. So that's pretty much everything in terms of the hardware releases. Again, from all of those, only the iPhone, the Apple Watch Series 5, and the brand new Apple TV are pretty much certain to be unveiled tomorrow at a September event. The MacBook Pro and the iPads are very likely coming only in October or November even at a separate event. Now, when it comes to the actual software releases, we are getting 3 brand new things. First, the final version of iOS 13 will be officially coming to the public. And iOS 13 is a pretty decent change. So it features a system-wide dark mode, finally, an improved portrait mode, redesigned Photos app, the ability to sign up with your Apple ID on websites, fully secured and encrypted, then the ability to view a live stream from your security cameras directly in the HomeKit app, then Street View for maps, a redesigned Reminders app, faster Face Unlock, and smaller app downloads. So yeah, iOS 13 is pretty good. It's a pretty good update overall, with a lot of new features. There's many more new features that I haven't mentioned. These are only the biggest ones that I thought would be, the ones worth mentioning. And iOS 13 works on all the iPhones from the iPhone 6s and newer, as well as the iPod Touch 7th generation and newer. There's no 8th gen, so just 7th gen. And alongside iOS 13, iPadOS is also going to be released. So this is indeed iOS 13 for the iPad, but it has been renamed to iPadOS just because of how big the changes really are. So for example, we're getting a redesigned home screen, improved multitasking with multiple slide over and split view windows, an even more improved response time for the Apple Pencil, improved gestures, an improved Files app with support for external hard drives, full desktop view in Safari, which is extremely useful, a download manager, and probably my favorite, Sidecar, which basically allows you to use the iPad as an external display for your Mac natively and even use the Apple Pencil on it. So iPadOS will indeed turn your iPad into something that's closer to a laptop than, the tablet that it was before. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. Then we have macOS Catalina, which now allows full iOS apps and games to run natively on macOS, alongside activation lock and the ability to locate a stolen or lost Mac even when Wi-Fi is turned off. So this works similar to how that iTrack, iFind, or whatever that small tile thing from Apple is going to be called. Very similar to that in functionality. And then finally, Apple Arcade and the Apple TV Plus services are going to launch most likely tomorrow at the event as well. So in case you don't know, Apple Arcade is basically a game service that offers 100 games on the iPhone, the iPad, the Apple TV, as well as your Mac, and you just pay monthly and you'll have 0 in-app purchases, or anything to buy from those games, which will most likely be, most of them will actually be story-based games. So I do like that. I think it's a great idea. The part with having no in-app purchases and story-based games. And then Apple TV Plus is Apple's Netflix competitor, so they will have some more unique shows and some pretty high-end shows at launch, but unfortunately the number is quite limited as of now. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this evolves over time. So yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys are excited to see the most at the September 2019 Apple event? For me, it's honestly just a preview, at least a preview of the upcoming 16-inch MacBook Pro. I don't really care about the iPhones. I'm curious about, the camera features and all that. But, the design is the same as in 2018 and 2017, and other than that, it's just an extra module that we've actually had on other Android phones since 2016, 3 years ago. But yeah, definitely subscribe notifications for live, or not live, unfortunately, because we'll get a strike from Apple, but, post-event coverage on the channel of the Apple event, so that will be out as soon as the event is finished, so definitely subscribe for that, and leave a like on this video if you have enjoyed it, to let me know that you've enjoyed this video, and definitely subscribe, again, enable notifications, I already said that before, so yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys, tomorrow after the Apple event. Then of Tech, signing out. Cheers.